ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Okay. Madhya Lila 4. Madhya Lila 3 was up to the pastimes at the house of Advaita Acharya. Um, Lord Chaitanya wanted to leave on the order of his mother to Saint Jagannath Puri, but he was stopped by Advaita Acharya for 2 to 4 days. He stayed for some more time. Devotees had um, very intimate association, a lot of loving exchanges, um, lot of Sankirtan, and then again it was time and Mahaprabhu decided that now I should leave, and devotees were plunged in grief that Mahaprabhu is going to leave now, and they don't know when. Mahaprabhu said, sometime I will come, sometime you come there, but they don't know when these times will come. Now, Advaita Acharya will stay in Shantipur, and other devotees, Nitai, Mukunda, Damodar, they are already going with Lord Chaitanya. The remaining Shivas Thakur and others will stay in Navadvip. They're all kind of separated, and the main life of their life, which is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is leaving. Nityananda Prabhu is leaving, and it won't be the same anymore. Their most cherished time. Um, don't know when it will come back. Grief ocean of plunged in the ocean of grief. um, Advaita Acharya could not tolerate. He started walking um, behind Mahaprabhu, Kandiya Kandiya, tears coming out of his eyes, and he was crying and following and following and following, and Mahaprabhu, very strict. Mahaprabhu didn't look back. And Advaita Acharya, very senior in age to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, old man, but could not believe that this time will ever come. Somehow he was under this feeling that Lord will stay. And now they're all living in Advaita alone in Shantipur. He could not tolerate that he can stay there. Kept on crying and following Lord Chaitanya. And after a certain point of time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Advaita Acharya, hold yourself, Advaita, hold yourself. Be composed. If you break like this, others will not be able to survive. On my order, go back and give solace. Give solace to yourself and give solace to all others. Um, I have to move on. And on the thundering words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita composed himself and he went back. And anybody who hears this Advaita Acharya pastimes becomes very soon very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was the Falastuti for that chapter. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is on his way to Jagannath Puri. Uh, Madhya Leela 4, pure devotional service of Madhavendra Puri. Many of us have heard this story, but it's always nice to hear from um, the lips of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, directly coming from his mouth. And that will have a very wonderful effect and a deeper appreciation for Sripad Madhavendra Puri. श्रद्धयुक्ता हाना इहा सुनये जना श्री कृष्ण चरण से पाया prema dhana. One who hears this narration, this is actually the last verse, so I have kept in the first because I thought Falastuti should come in the first. One who hears this narration with faith and devotion attains the treasure of love of Godhead at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Usually, Falastuta is always spoken at the end. I just myself personally kept it in the front, um, um, so we can hear the narration with faith and devotion. Um, so we can become recipient of this mercy. Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, all glories to devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, that was, I think, from the previous. Um, okay, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami's humility. I would be very proud to repeat the incidents described by Vrindavan Das. Now, uh, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami began describing about Madhavendra Puri, but some aspect of the pastime of Madhavendra Puri is already described in the last 3-4 chapters. This is the Antya Leela, last few chapters of Chaitanya Bhagavat. So the tour of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas is described in slight, in yeah, um, in some way. Some section is described. So Ishwar Puri is telling to all of us, I would be very proud to repeat the instance described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Doesn't want to breach the Vaishnav etiquettes. The thought process is, if I think that by my describing the Madhvendra Puri pastime, it will be more nourishing for my readers and more inspiring for my readers than as described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Then I will be very proud. So this is a sign of pride when we think I can do something better than others. So he himself is declaring that I would be very proud to repeat, because a devotee just want his bhakti to be preserved. A devotee doesn't care for any service he does, but he is very careful about protecting his bhakti lata, because if that is lost, life is lost. Life is lost. So I would be very proud to repeat the incidents described by Vrindavan Das, and I do not have the power to do so. Instead, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is telling, I cannot do that. I mean, the devotion, this is his humility, the devotion and the position of Vrindavan Das Thakur, a person like me, I cannot describe like that. I present only the synopsis of those events. Now, if you see the natural humility of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, he presents the synopsis in such a uninspiring way, in a way that nobody will feel anything while reading. And that is actually the true humility of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. He is not using exaggerated words or describing with a lot of enthusiasm, but he described like, okay, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed universal form to Advaita Acharya, and then um, 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 he got married to Vishnu Priya, and then he went to Gaya, and then he got initiated. So he described in such a way that nobody feels anything while hearing those pastimes from Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. That is actually a sign of true humility, where he considers himself unqualified, and he want to work in such a way that everybody goes and glorifies Vrindavan Das Thakur for the way he has described. So that's why these devotees, because of their purity, they are worshipable. I present only the synopsis of those events, um, but I shall try to describe those incidents that he did not describe elaborately. Elaborately, I thus offer my obeisances onto his lotus feet and hope that I will not offend his lotus feet. So he's so careful that he's thinking that even by describing the synopsis, I don't offend the lotus feet of Vrindavan Das Thakur. So I'll present in such a way that nobody even know that they were presented in such a simple way, and I will only elaborate because Vrindavan Das Thakur is my worshipable, and I don't want to bridge that Vaishnav etiquette. So this is the beginning of this chapter is Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami's natural humility. Lord Chaitanya visits Remuna. Um, ए मता महाप्रभु चलिला नीला चले चारि भक्ता संगे कृष्णा कीर्तन कुतूहले. um, A Mata Mahaprabhu Chalila Nilachale, and hence Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with four other associates, started to go to Nilachal. Nilachal is Jagannath Puri. Chari Bhakta Sange, and he took four devotees with him. Chari Bhakta Sange, Krishna Kirtana Kutuhale, and he was with great eagerness all the way. They all four devotees along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would perform kirtanas with great enthusiasm and eagerness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded toward Jagannath Puri with four of his devotees, and he chanted the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, with great eagerness. Nityananda Gosai, Jagadananda Pandit, Damodar Pandit, and Mukunda Dutt. These are the four devotees who would accompany, as we saw in the previous chapter. Now, Nityananda Gosai, we know he was um, Balramji, who appeared in a part of Bengal called Ekachakra Dham, and when he was 11 years old, he was um, taken by a sannyasi for to assist the sannyasi um, in his Tirth Yatra. So the sannyasi came and asked his father Hriday Pandit in Ekachakra, I need your son, I need a servant. And we'll discuss more about Nityananda Prabhu. His appearance is coming very soon. So maybe one discussion we'll discuss just about the whole flow of Nityananda Prabhu's life, maybe little bit here and there. So that was Nitai, and then Nitai traveled for almost 2 years in different parts, traveling different parts, all different holy places. He even went to Gaya, Vrindavan, Kurukshetra, Allahabad, Prayag. He went to all our places and finally settled in Vrindavan. And he stayed in Vrindavan as long as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his Sankirtan. When Mahaprabhu got initiated, Nityananda Prabhu understood that Mahaprabhu started his Sankirtan. And it is described that he shouted in ecstasy when he know that Mahaprabhu has started, that all the three words could hear his roar. That much ecstatic he became, and he immediately left Vrindavan, started walking towards Puri. And then there is a whole pastime of how Mahaprabhu first met Nitai. So Jagadananda Pandit um, is Satyabhama in Dwarka Leela, a very close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were together during Mahaprakash Leela, during the nightly Sankirtan at the house of Shivas Thakur. His relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as loving anger. Loving anger. We will see there are some pastimes of Jagadanda Pandit. He was so close to the Lord that Lord was afraid of Jaga, and he was like, what if Jaga becomes angry, then how will I cannot face him. So Jagannath Pandit has intense love. Wherever Mahaprabhu would go, we will see later on, Jaga would cook for Lord Chaitanya. So he had such close intimate relationship. He accompanied the Lord to Puri, and he resided in Puri for the rest of his life. So he was one of the close associate, always with the Lord. There is no mention of his marriage and other things. He was always with the Lord. Same as Damodar Pandit. He was also a brahmachari. Nitai, he got married. He had two wives. Um, 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 Mother Janava and Vasudha. And that Nitai left in between because Mahaprabhu ordered him to preach in Bengal. Jagadananda Pandit stayed throughout. And then Damodar Pandit. So Jagadananda Pandit, Damodar Pandit, Jagannath Pandit, Nityananda Gosai, Damodar Pandit. Damodar Pandit is a gopi in Madhurya Ras in Krishna Lila, and he appeared to assist in Sri Krishna's pastimes. And the relationship of Mahaprabhu with Damodar Pandit is described similar to Jagadananda Pandit. He would also, many times, he would control Lord Chaitanya out of love. Many times he would chastise also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We discuss one pastime of Damodar Pandit where Mahaprabhu was very attracted to a boy, but his mother was a widow. And Damodar Pandit chastised him. What will people say? You are associating with the boy whose mother is young and beautiful and she is a widow. And you are a sannyasi. I am concerned about you. So likewise, he would give suggestion to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Lord Chaitanya sent him to take care of his mother in the middle of the pastimes. But Damodar Pandit was a classmate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and him and Damodar Pandit would very regularly argue on grammatical topics. So, very loving pastimes, and more will come just so that we get a feel of them. Mukunda Dutt we know. Mukunda Dutt was another associate of Mahaprabhu's classmate friend. um, he would sometime associate, he would also participate in the nightly kirtans of Shivas Thakur. All four were close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mukunda Dutt was the one who sometime would associate with impersonalist. And Mahaprabhu was very angry and he said, I will not see Mukunda for millions of life. And Mukunda thought, he became ecstatic, and then Mahaprabhu revealed his divinity to Mukunda also. So although Mukunda is eternally a servant of the Lord, but in that particular pastime to teach a lesson of faith in pure devotion, Mahaprabhu performed that pastime. So these four devotees would accompany Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Each day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to a village and collected a great quantity of rice and other grains for the preparation of prasadam. So Mahaprabhu actually was in ecstasy after taking sannyas. And once for 3 days, he did not beg, he did not eat. He was hungry because he was so eager to go to Vrindavan. So he didn't beg. Then, when he went to Advaita Acharya's home, he was treated like Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like so much love and care he was given. So Mahaprabhu was eagerly looking for that rasa of sannyas, of begging and eating by begging. So Mahaprabhu um, posing himself as a sannyasi goes and beg, and that's how he gets his food. So each day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to a village and collected great quantity of rice and other grains for the preparation of prasadam. Many times, Jagadanda would cook for the Lord, and Mahaprabhu, being a sannyasi, would personally beg. There were many tax collectors on the way. So when Mahaprabhu would go, as he crosses the river, it was like if you cross the river, it's like a different district, and to go to other district you have to pay the toll tax. Just like we hear the pastime of Shivananda Sen also coming from Bengal to Puri with all the devotees, and he was a businessman. Whatever he would earn, he would use during these 4 months and pay for all the devotees their residence, their food, their toll tax over there coming back. So everybody would go for free. That was the service of Shivananda Sen. Mahaprabhu told Shivananda Sen that you have some wealth, use it to bring devotees to Puri. And he would 6 months he would work, and 4 months he would travel, and he would use his entire income um, to serve the devotees. So he would pay toll tax. So likewise, when Mahaprabhu was going, because he's a sannyasi, There is always a respect for them. So nobody would take tax from Lord Chaitanya and his associates. And Mahaprabhu gave everyone lot of blessings on the way. So many tax collectors on the way who wouldn't ask Lord for taxes. Finally, the Lord reached the village of Remuna. Remuna is in Orissa. So they walked. There is no mention, maybe in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I'm not sure, but there is no mention of Lord Chaitanya, uh, anything in between. Just this is the only description, and the Lord reached Remuna. But in South India tour, it is description that the Lord would stay each night in different Brahmanas' home during South India tour. No such references so far in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his obeisances, and then he reached Remuna. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his obeisances at the lotus feet of Gopinath deity. This deity is by this time he is called Kichor Gopinath. And we know the story, we will see it in more detail. One who stole the sweet rice for the pleasure of his eternal associate Madhvendra Puri. So at the lotus feet of Gopinath deity, the helmet of flowers, when Mahaprabhu paid obeisances to the deity to Kichor Gopinath, the helmet of flowers on the head of Gopinath fell down and landed on the head of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gopinath has a like a aura, like a helmet of flowers, and that fell on the head, right on the head uh, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Um, Churapana Mahaprabhura Anandita Mana Bahu Nitya Gita Kaila Lana Bhakta Gana. When the deity's helmet fell upon his head, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased. Lord became ecstatic. Like, when you go and immediately the garland falls and it garlands you, then what will be the gratitude? So Lord Chaitanya became very pleased, and thus he chanted and danced in various ways with his devotees. He became ecstatic, and he danced just like he would dance in nightly Sankirtan in a very um, highly enthusiastic way. All the servants of the deity were struck with wonder due to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intense love. Anybody who would see Lord Chaitanya dancing and his devotion, they would be like, their eyes would not blink. So, struck with wonder, all the servants of Kishore Gopinath, his exquisite beauty and his transcendental qualities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as supremely beautiful. He's tall. He's like 7.5 feet. He's very tall, and he is golden, very fair and golden. And he wears saffron robes, which matches with the color of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Large eyes, and his hands are very tall. When he stands, his hand reaches below the knees. Can you imagine? From the shoulder, if he stands, his hand will go all the way below the knees. So imagine when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raise his hand 7.5 feet, and the hands are like 70% or 60-70% of his form. How big are the hands? And when he would raise hands with that tall form, everybody could see this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he would dance, it is described that when he would rotate in his dancing, it was like a firebrand. I don't know if you know, there is in Hindi, in Diwali, there is a um, uh, it's called chakarginni. It's like it's circle, and then you lit the fire on one end, and then it starts rotating like in Diwali, like anar, and there is that kind of firebrand, and it rotates at full speed in such a way it rotates that it feels like there is a circle of fire. So it looks very attractive. I used to play with that. So when Shish Mahaprabhu would would dance, because of his saffron robes and golden color and raise hands, and he would rotate at such a speed, it nobody would understand. It seems like it's a chakarginni. Nobody can see his head and his eyes and his hands, because the way he would dance, everybody was stuck with wonder, like, oh, what is happening here? So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates they danced, um, the servants of Khichor Gopinath were struck with wonder. Today, Khichor Gopinath deity is very close to Jagannath Puri. In the last visit, when we went to Khichor Gopinath deity, very beautiful deity. Around you have to drive from Puri, maybe around half an hour, and the deity moved locations few times. So all the servants of the deity were struck with wonder due to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intense love, his exquisite beauty, and his trans. Okay, I'm confused. I think it's not Khichor Gopinath. It's Sakshi Gopal deity. Yeah, it's Sakshi Gopal deity who is in Puri, near close. Okay. Anyways, his exquisite beauty and his transcendental qualities were very attractive. They served him in many ways. That night, Lord stayed in temple. So Mahaprabhu stayed one night. Wherever there is temples, he would stay. He would stay in the temple on that night. And the reason Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami describes Lord wanted to taste the sweet rice because he had heard the narration of Madhavendra Puri from his spiritual master. The Lord narrated the story to his devotees. So this story of Kirchor Gopinath and Madhavendra Puri was told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Damodar and Jaga. Um, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard it from Ishwar Puri. And Ishwar Puri was the personal servant of Madhavendra Puri. And Mahaprabhu spoke that pastime in great ecstasy to the four devotees in the night. So this is like their night Sankirtan, just like, so this is their Sankirtan. So the story of Madhavendra Puri and the deities of Gopal and Gopinath. Uh, so the story begins. Once Madhavendra Puri was traveling to Vrindavan. Madhavendra Puri was a traveling saint, highly advanced. And once he was traveling to Vrindavan and he came across Govardhan. And Madhavendra Puri has a very special role in Vraja, in Vrindavan. There is a place, it's called Govindasthali. Govindasthali is the most intimate place along with Radhakund. Two of the places which are most intimate in Golok Vrindavan, one is Radhakund, one is Govindasthali. Govindasthali, most of the time, the Lord in the night pastimes happens at Govindasthali under a Kalpavriksha tree. That Kalpavriksha tree is very dear to the divine couple, and the dearest tree. And every day, Lord performs pastimes unless it's a special occasion under that tree. And there is a verse that described Divya Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumada Shrimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Shrimati Radha Shila Govinda Devo Presh Thalibi Sevya Mano Smarami. When we offer Pushpanjali, we recite this prayer. It says, Divya Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumada. Divya Vrindaranya. In Vrindavan, there is a Kalpa Drumada, a Kalpa Vriksha tree. Kalpa Drumada, Shrimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto. Under that tree, on on a jewel throne, the divine couple sits. Shrimati Radha Shila Govinda Devo. They are described as Radha and Govinda. Shrimati Radha Shila Govinda Devo. Preshthali bhi Sevya Manos Marami. Preshthali means confidential. Sevya Manos Marami. So Radha and Krishna sits under a Kalpa Vriksha um, in Govindasthali, um, on a jewel throne under a under that tree, and they are served by their most confidential servants, including the Astasakhis and their own servants. So this tree has that kind of significance that we cannot imagine. That tree appeared in uh, in in Gaur Leela before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Madhavendra Puri. So very exalted position of Madhavendra Puri as that special Kalpavriksha tree. So once Madhvendra Puri, he was always on a devotion. He was always on a platform of pure devotion. Once Madhvendra Puri was Once Madhvendra Puri traveled to Vrindavan and came across Govardhan. So he would travel, and then in his ecstatic love, he had intense longing to go to Vrindavan, and then he made his residence for some time, for few days, at Govardhan. Um, but Lord wanted him to stay there for some time. After circumambulating the hill, Madhvendra Puri went to the Govindakund. Govindakund is a very famous place. Before Madhvendra Puri came, Govindakund is celebrated because it is at Govindakund that Indra bathed Krishna with the water from uh, Ganga water from heavenly planets brought by Airavata after he was repentant of his behavior to Gopal. Um, so Govinda Kund has lot of significance, and Madhvendra Puri came to Govinda Kund after circumambulating the hill. Madhvendra Puri came to Govinda Kund and took his bath. He then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. So we can see that some of the pastimes of Vraja were already existent before even Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa and Sanatan to excavate Vrindavan. Some were already present. Like we will see, he would find a Gopal deity. He was already there before Rupa and Sanatan came. Govinda Kund is there. Radha Kund, Shyam Kund were not visible, but Govind Kund was there. So some pastime places existed. He then sat beneath the tree to take his evening rest, Madhvendra Puri. And the sadhana of Madhvendra Puri is day and night he would chant the holy names, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prema mata nahi tanra ratri dina jnana shane uthe shane pade nahi sthana. Um, uh, Prema mata means mad. Madhvendra Puri was almost mad in his in his ecstasy of love of Godhead, and he did not know whether it was day or night. Nahi tandra ratri dina jnana, no knowledge, no jnana of whether it is ratri or dina, whether it is day or night. Um, Sometimes he stood up and sometimes he fell to the ground. Shane uthe, shane pade. Anytime, any shan, any moment he would just stand up. Shane pade. Anytime he would fall down. Nahi sthana. And he could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. Um, there is This is a subject matter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. um, the symptoms of prema bhakti, and we did discuss about um, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, raga noga sadhana bhakti. Practicing Krishna conscious as a matter of rules and regulations, then practicing Krishna consciousness by following a residence of Vrindavan, by following a resident of Vrindavan, Raga Nuga Sadhana Bhakti, which is spontaneous devotion. After going over this sadhana bhakti, then one comes to stage of bhava bhakti, the divine love in ecstasy. After bhava bhakti, there is prema bhakti, divine um, pure love, pure love of God. So something from that subject matter that I thought may be interesting for devotees is something on from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, something nice. Srila Prabhupada explains that the cumulative effect of patience, confidence, and determination attracts the Lord's grace and thus assures ultimate perfection in spiritual life. Ultimate perfection in spiritual life is to develop love for Krishna, is to realize Krishna, and is to realize our service to Krishna, our relationship to Krishna, and is to become mad in love of God, is to follow in the footsteps of Madhvendra Puri and the other great devotees like BhaktiVinodThakur, our acharyas. Um, like it is described, sometimes the Prabhupada will go in ecstasy and it will be a pin drop silence. And recently I was hearing a lecture by Sachindan Swami. And he was mentioning that when Prabhupada would close his eyes, once in a while, he would be very careful not to exhibit it. Once in a while, he would close his eyes and he would go into ecstasy. And when he would go into ecstasy, um, um, the whole environment, the whole room was filled with a special divine potency which was never heard of, never experienced by anyone, which was a, a very deep, uh, their deepest experience that they find it difficult to comprehend and difficult to explain. And after some time, Srila Prabhupada would come out, and then he would not be able to speak on Hari Katha anymore. And then he would just say devotees chant Hare Krishna, and he would get down off Vyasas and he would walk away. He would walk away. So sometimes, although he was very careful, so the goal is to attain that love, that love. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains that cumulative effect of patience, confidence, and determination attracts Lord grace. If we want Krishna's mercy to come, there has to be confidence. This confidence is pure faith. Pure faith. What is this pure faith? Um, by this same process of chanting the holy names and this and hearing about Krishna, by this same process, at one day I will be able to attain Krishna's lotus feet. And there is nothing more worthy than attaining Krishna's lotus feet. And the goal of life is to attain Krishna's lotus feet. This is pure faith. Impure faith or mixed faith is, well, I'm chanting 16 rounds, I will do that, but then I need this material desire, I need that material desire. And by practicing Krishna consciousness, my life will be auspicious, something good will happen. Um, at the same time, I have many responsibilities, many duties, I have to take care of many things. So, Krishna consciousness is a separate activity, and our material life is a separate activity, and both goes in parallel. This is impure faith. Pure faith is whatever we are doing in our life, everything is dovetailed and centered around Krishna. Whether it is work, whether it is whatever varnashram duty we have, everything is centered around Krishna. Only Krishna is our goal. Impure faith is Krishna consciousness is some religious activity I am doing because it's good. It's good to worship God. And Krishna looks like God. So there is impure faith. So once those who have pure faith, that confidence, and then working, um, and then working towards the regulated practice of devotional service with determination, with determination. um, Sometimes we feel like doing it, sometimes we don't feel like doing it, but we are stretching, extending, doing everything possible with determination. And and then there is patience, there is patience. Wait, I am trying my best, I am doing as much as I can. Don't think about anything, keep doing it. Patience. And when these three are combined together, Srila Prabhupada says that cumulative effect of these three, determination, confidence, and patience, attracts the Lord's grace. When Krishna sees that this devotee is very enthusiastically with lot of determination, um, Lord with great determination, struggling to advance. Day after day, years have passed, decades have passed. This devotee is very patiently waiting for my mercy. And he is very confident, with full faith, he is doing what he is doing. And with great determination and enthusiasm, I should show my mercy to him. Naturally, when a child is very much trying very hard to attain something, the mother is watching, but the child is really trying very hard. Then, at some point of time, mother becomes compassionate. Oh, my dear child, you're trying so hard. Let me help you a little bit. So that's how Krishna. That's called Krishna's grace. When Krishna sees that this devotee of mine is trying very hard to progress, not like, if like Chataka bird means, if I am not getting some happiness from Krishna, let me try somewhere else. Let me get my happiness from somewhere else. Chataka bird means I will wait for my nourishment, I will wait for my water from the cloud. And even if nothing comes, I will not drink any other water. I will wait and I would fast and remain thirsty. So when Krishna sees this person is patiently waiting for my grace and working very hard to receive my mercy, serving the devotees with pure faith, he is doing, the Lord becomes compassionate and he says, let me show my mercy to this devotee. So that attracts Lord's grace. This is very important and thus assures ultimate perfection in life. Our progress in Krishna consciousness is not dependent upon how many rounds we chant, or how much reading we are doing, or how much seva we are doing, or how much sadhana we are doing. It is purely dependent upon Krishna's mercy. Some people may be doing very little sadhana, but if their mood is very good, what is a good mood? My spiritual master says Krishna is not pleased by your chanting 64 rounds. Krishna is not pleased by your rendering service day and night, but Krishna is pleased by your genuine humility. That is what pleases Krishna the most. That is the biggest austerity in this day of age and Kali, is the genuine humility. What is genuine humility? I am a servant. I am a servant. No matter how somebody treats me, I am a servant. That is my position. I will serve them. They may they may like me, they may dislike me, they may criticize me, they may glorify me. Um, let me serve them. Let me serve them. So um, and slowly, that's what very important instruction, nectar of instruction. Nectar of instruction is full of glorious instruction. As many times you read, as much progress you will make, because the essence is there, and the essence, what helps bhakti, what destroys bhakti, and these are the things what helps bhakti, is that confidence, that enthusiasm, and satovritti, following the footsteps of great souls, and this patience and determination, and good association, and tat pravartanat. Tattva-vritti pravartanat means engaging once 24 hours in Krishna's service. These six things are required if you eventually want to attach Krishna's grace. Otherwise, it won't come. These six things are required. Um, so, some of the discussion of today will be based on this principle of progress, advancement from based on the teaching Social Rupa Goswami. Um, why then are there severe types of penance for the perfection of devotional life? Um, an easygoing life and attainment of perfection and transcendental realization cannot go together. Our austerities are required, yes. Austerities are required. An easygoing, comfortable material life and Krishna consciousness go ill together. So, devotees perform severe types of austerities. Um, b- our austerities can be defined in our own ways. Different people, different austerities, but severe type of austerities to show Krishna, my Lord, please. If you see what was the austerities performed by the devotees during the time of Srila Prabhupada, day and night they would go out and distribute books, not for 15-20 minutes a day and the rest of the time eating and sleeping, but they were pushing themselves so hard in spreading Krishna consciousness movement, in pleasing their spiritual master, and that's why they were ecstatic in their Krishna consciousness, because they that was the austerity for them. Today, one devotee came. His name is Ashtavakra Prabhu. Ashtavakra Prabhu, and I asked him, Prabhu, he is practicing Krishna consciousness for around 40 years, and I asked him, Prabhu, what was your schedule before? So he was telling about his schedule when he served Radha Ras Bihari in Juhu temple, and then he served in a bus party, a Sankirtan preaching bus party in Germany. And I was very surprised. And by hearing his austerities, I was thinking, wow. So he was mentioning his schedule. They would sleep in a bus, and that bus would go place to place. So it's a traveling bus, and underneath the bus there is thousands of books, and on the top of the bus there was just enough space for 8 people to sleep. So that's how they would sleep. They had a small Gaunta deity in the bus. Every day morning, whole morning program, get up, Mangal Arti. He would wake up the deities and he would dress the Gaunnetai. um, and then there was Shringhar Arti and garland was offered, Bhagavatam class and Guru Puja and group Japa. So there was a full morning program, and then he would cook breakfast. By the time he would cook breakfast, other 7 devotees would go out with a full backpack and they would distribute books, and then they would come back around noon, and then they would take lunch, and then they all, including this devotee who cooked, they all 8 would go out and they would distribute uh, books. And then while distributing books, they will give them an address to come in the evening. So they will distribute hundreds of books and they will give them an invitation card. And then on that evening they would do kirtan and katha, and they would invite all these local Germans to a common place. So everywhere they go, they would book a common place for evening 2 hours Bhakti Vriksha kind of model. And throughout the day, they would give flyers and pass on books. Um, um, and Evening, then this Prabhu would cook puri sabji halwa, and 50, 60 Germans would come during every night. 50, 60 Germans would come, huge Sankirtan, a small discussion, and lot of questions. Discussion. Those who are interested, they would keep in touch and connect them to the local programs, to the local temple. And, and 6 days a week, they would travel in a bus like that. So, and then around, then they have, then night dressing of God Nitai, and then um, putting them to rest, go to sleep at 10:30, get up at 3:30, and then again this morning program and book distribution and evening program and lot of cooking and lot of sankirtan. How they would do, all 8 devotees, they would go to any downtown. After their lunch, 3 devotees would sit down, they would do sankirtan, and 4 5 remaining devotees, they would be around walking by. Whoever is attracted to sankirtan, they would give them books. So they are hearing holy names, and in this way they are spending years. And then when I was thinking, wow, I mean, such intense devotional service. Even he was mentioning his schedule on Juhu temple, and it was like, oh, okay, this is like um, very intense. Um, so when Krishna sees how much we are extending our, this is austerity. Austerity for devotees is not go to Himalayas and don't eat anything and in a hot sun. Austerity for devotees is push on the movement, extend yourself to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you want to remain in your comfort zone, you will remain in your comfort zone for millions of lifetimes and you will stay in this material world. I tell you, it is not easy. Devotees are extending themselves day and night. They are pushing themselves to please Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to please the spiritual master, to please Srila Prabhupada. Think about it, how much Srila Prabhupada, just read the life of Srila Prabhupada. Just go through his life and see his daily schedule. See the life of BhaktiVinodThakur. See the life of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Read about them. One time, Malti Prabhu was telling one of the lecture, if you hear about these Goswamis, um, um, that will enthuse us in our own Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we may go in our small nutshell, and then we are like, okay, yeah, I read 15 minutes and I chant 16 rounds, and that's all I can do. That's all I can do. Well, that's okay. That's okay to begin with. That's okay for a neophyte. That's okay. But if you want to grow, if you want to advance, you have to do something extra. My spiritual master says always you should be in a uncomfortable zone. You should not be comfortable. You have to do something extra. And then if it is like this is too much devotional service, stay there. And then once you become comfortable with that, and then do something extra. Don't be in your comfort zone. Comfort zone kills devotion. My spiritual master says two biggest enemy of progress in our Krishna consciousness. One is complacency, one is lethargy. Complacency means satisfaction means I am satisfied doing this. that that's a sign of impure faith. That's the sign of lack of greed that we want Krishna. That's a sign of lack of greed that we want to make progress. That's a sign of I have my material life, it's important to me, and I'm working in that direction. And you know religious life is good, auspicious, nice thing to do, but then I have my own prajalpa, I have my own sense gratifications, I have my own everything. And here and there, here and there I do little service, and that's I'm good with that. And any service comes, then I'm busy, I have my sense gratification, so I cannot do I cannot serve Radha Rani, I cannot serve Gopi Chandra Vallabha. Why? I am more important than them. My pleasure is more important than theirs. My center is me. Janna samohoyam aham mameti. Then what will happen? Stay here. Stay here. What will happen if you stay here? Suffering will come. Dukhalema shashvatam. We are not going to get out of this material world unless we follow what um, this is very important principle, unless we follow what Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, tat 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 Tattat Vritti Pravartanat, engaging oneself 24 hours in Krishna service. Now, we cannot attain the state. See, just you will be amazed if you hear the schedule of Srila Prabhupada. You'll be amazed. How is it that these devotees, they attain the stage of bhava? You see in ISKCON how many people have attained the stage of bhava in prema. How many devotees? If you find a devotee who has attained the state of bhava, then see what was their life. दूध दूध पानी पानी हो जाएगा immediately. Just see the devotees who have advanced and see what they are doing. What they are doing, whether in Grahastha ashram or in Brahmachari ashram. We have examples for both. BhaktiVinodThakur and Srila Prabhupada was in Grahastha ashram, working with job with 10 kids. I don't think anybody here has 10 kids. Working with job with 10 kids, see his life, hear about his Jeevani, and hear about the life of Saraswati Thakur and others. Whatever ashram, whatever situation you are in, that's why Rupa Goswami says Satovritti. Satovritti is another extremely important factor if you want to make progress, if you want to if you want to attain this state of bhava and prema, pure love of devotion, then satovritti. Satovritti means follow the footsteps of previous acharyas. Not just I am my own acharya and I decide what I want to do. That's not following footsteps. That's like I follow my own footsteps. Our footstep, we are not great soul that we have to follow our own footstep. Follow the footsteps of great acharyas. Who are great acharyas? BhaktiVinodThakur, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. See how much our spiritual master has pushed. What they have done, why they are there where they are now. To say, well, they are pure devotees, Nitya Siddha devotees, it's like criticizing them, it's like demeaning them. It's like telling whatever great austerities they have done, what's a big deal in them. That's like demeaning them. Demeaning they That's like not glorifying them. That's like saying, well, that's okay, that's okay, I cannot do that. That's not satovritti. Satovritti means you see them as they are normal souls. For now, they are great souls, but you see them for the sake of taking inspiration, for the sake of understanding their life, and then only you'll be inspired to follow. See, if a friend of yours perform lot of devotional service, set very high example, you will be inspired. That's an element of satovritti, because you are inspired by your friend who is performing lot of devotional service. Now project that to great souls. So, and if you follow satovritti, tat tat vritti pravartanat, which is 24 hours in Krishna service, will come along with it. My spiritual master, I mean, the way he would stretch, sleeping 1.5 hours at the age of 20s and 30s and 40s. I mean, I am just ashamed. I am just ashamed myself when I see the example set by my spiritual master, when I see the example set by these great devotees like the one who came today, when I see how much they are rendering devotional service, my head bows down in shame. Like, What a useless life. What a useless life. um, Something I really like. Now, please forgive me for being straightforward. Um, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "Human life." Now, please forgive me, but I am being frank and honest. Human life should is not meant to convert foodstuff into stool. That's what Saraswati Thakur, one of the statement. Human life should not be meant for converting foodstuff into stool. I think I'm just doing that, and and being in my comfort zone and doing little service here and there. So I really like this. I mean, um, based on your inspiration, how much ever you are inspired, these words should not be just heard and neglected, but these words are something to be thought of. Now, what you can do, that's not, we are not the doers. What you can do will depend upon your desire. These discussions is not meant to discuss what service we do. They are meant to desire. Krishna is the doer. Krishna is sitting in our heart. How much desire we have to serve Krishna more? I mean, I'm with great shame. I'm speaking myself, thinking my own desire to serve Krishna. How much is that there? Yet I aim for Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. Um, that's a sign of great shame. Um, Okay, so an easygoing life and attainment of perfection in transcendental realization cannot go together. It won't happen. The Lord wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in his devotional service. Ultimate success unfailingly comes to those who follow the process strictly. Could Lord Chaitanya himself have reassured us with false hopes? Success is guaranteed. Devotees who are very determined and who are very strict in following the process and who are very enthusiastic and eager to serve their spiritual master and to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada and to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, um, they'll go back. Success is guaranteed for them. Success is guaranteed based on our practices. One nice line, Srila Prabhupada said, "Don't be envious of how Krishna is reciprocating with others." If Krishna is reciprocating more with others, Prabhupada said, don't be envious by seeing how Krishna is reciprocating with others. Krishna is impartial. Um, if you have a desire to serve, and if you try to serve Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate with you. It's all a matter of how much are we willing, how much are we eager to serve. Krishna will reciprocate with you accordingly. Different people will have different reciprocation. Prabhupada said, don't be envious. Krishna is impartial. Just look within yourself. You serve today, Krishna will reciprocate with you tomorrow. By meticulous efforts in devotional service, devotees gain mastery over the mind and senses. Meticulous efforts. Lot of people struggle with their mind and senses. Lot of people struggle. Mind and senses is like it continuously drops the devotee's consciousness on a mental platform, on a non-devotional platform. Lot of devotees struggle by meticulous effort in devotional service. If you are very strict with your practices, not like sometimes we become weak. Now that is anishtita bhakti. Anishtita bhakti means sometimes I'm enthusiastic about my Krishna consciousness, sometimes I don't like. Sometimes I criticize Krishna also. Sometimes I criticize Radharani. Sometimes I criticize Srila Prabhupada. Not like that. But meticulous efforts in devotional service, devotees gain mastery over the mind and senses. Slowly, by mind and senses, Krishna is Adhokshaj. Krishna, Hridishikesha, means he can control our mind and senses. That's why he is called Rishikesha. Um, um, and achieve so devotees can by meticulous effort. Meticulous means by sincere efforts, precisely. If you are practicing Krishna consciousness as our acharyas have given, devotees will gain mastery over mind and senses. All our misery is mostly at mental level. Mostly at mental level. So they gain mastery over mind and senses, and then they achieve steadiness in hearing and chanting. Because if our mind is not in our control, if we don't have mastery over mind and senses, no question about steadiness in hearing and chanting. Because during chanting we are at mental platform, during hearing the mind will distract us and we'll stop the books and go. There is devotional service in three modes: devotional service in mode of goodness, devotional service in mode of passion, devotional service in mode of ignorance. Devotional service in mode of goodness, you can sit and you can perform sadhana, um, undeviatedly, hearing and chanting, especially hearing, chanting, serving. You can be fixed in those processes. Mode of passion, it becomes difficult to do that. A mode of passion is like a fruity worker. Fruity worker means I am aiming towards Krishna consciousness, but some point of the time, other part of the time, I don't care about Krishna consciousness. I have my own goals, what I want to achieve in life, where I want to grow in my office, what position I want, how much wealth I want, how much fame I have. This is fruitive. This is devotional service in mode of passion. Mode of passion means, fruitive means I am working for myself, and goodness, and especially pure goodness, is I am working for Krishna. So fruitive means I have my personal desires and Krishna will help. I if I take help from Krishna, Krishna will help me fulfill my personal desires. Lack of impure faith. Our all advancement of Krishna consciousness is dependent upon pure faith. How pure is our faith? And mode of ignorance is like separatist mentality. I am performing devotional service, but why performing devotional service? The why is something for me there. Separatist mentality. I have my own agendas in practicing Krishna consciousness, which is separate from my own agenda, means I have a personal desire other than serving Krishna. I have my own agenda. I am performing Krishna consciousness because I get some material juice from my Krishna consciousness, and that is called separatist mentality. This is all Kapila Muni's brilliant instructions on bhakti, devotional service in three modes. They lack steadiness. They lack steadiness in hearing and chanting about Krishna and remembering Him. If mind and senses is not in control, there is no question of remembering Krishna. There is no question. I mean, we cannot even remember Krishna during chanting the holy names. What to speak about coming to the platform man mana bhavan bhakto? What it means? What it means to come to the stage of man mana? Always think of me. We have no idea. What it what it takes to reach to the stage of man mana bhavan bhakto, which is the ultimate teaching of Gita. What is the essence of Gita? Always think of me. Now, um, and same thing in 12th chapter, Krishna says the highest thing is always use your mind in thinking about me, which is same instruction repeated three times. Once in 12th chapter, once in 9th chapter, once in 18th chapter, and Krishna always says, this is my most confidential instruction, this is the highest, this is the best of all, this is the topmost, this is something to shoot for, which is man mana bhavan bhakto. um, 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 that comes by gaining mastery over mind and senses. Then we achieve steadiness in hearing and chanting about Krishna, and then we can remember him. The creeper of devotion then reveals extraordinary fruits, something that we are all eager for. People in this material world, they want the juice of bhakti without working for that. It's like, I want to become a rich man. My definition of rich is how much bhakti you have. That is rich. That much rich you are. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Kolavija Sridhar, I will reveal to the world your treasure. What is my treasure, my lord? I am a beggar. No, you are the richest person on the planet. What do I have? I will reveal. I will reveal. You are a thief. You show yourself that you have nothing and you have such a treasure. I will reveal. That that is person is called rich. Um, so we all want to become rich. We all want to experience a lot of devotion, but we want it to come for nothing. It's not going to come like that. It's going to come. The process is there. The process is there, which is sadhana bhakti. How sincere we are, how much we are doing, how much we are surrendering, how humble we are, how patient we are, how determined we are, how enthusiastic we are, how what is the strength of our desire, how eager we are. You get the results accordingly. First, an intense taste for the activities of devotional service awakens. This is after we, again, a subject matter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, something we discussed. This is all philosophical, less pastime, because I was just inspired to put this subject matter today, seeing Madhvendra Puri became mad in love of Godhead, what it takes to get there, what it means. Because we hear very plainly, yeah, he has love of Godhead. He received love of Godhead. But what is the state that is and what it takes to get there? One time Rohini Priya Prabhu said that people get little devotion and they feel I am there. And when that pride comes, they don't realize what it means to actually get there. What tapasya, what austerities the spiritual master and acharyas have done to reach that stage. And little bit they get and they feel, yeah, I'm almost there. um, so first, an intense taste for activities of devotional service awakens. Once mind and senses becomes to some extent under our control, to some extent, by sincere practice of regulated devotional service, by endeavoring with great determination to serve Krishna, to serve spiritual master, intense taste first develops. Intense taste for activities of devotional service. Then if you read, you feel like, oh, I just want to keep reading. Then if you chant, you feel like, I just want to keep chanting more and more. I just want to chant more and more. But I lack time. What about reading? I lack time. I read today only 6 hours. I lack time. I don't have. Anything you do, anything, everything becomes attractive. Anything you do, you're just walking, your walking becomes attractive to you. Anything you do, this is at the state of ruchi. Your whole life, you love your life. You love your life. What is the normal life, material world? Normal life is, I have so many problems, I am miserable, nobody speaks, but I am miserable. I have so many problems because of my mind. And Krishna says the living entity in this material world are struggling. They're struggling very hard because of the six senses, which includes the mind. People are struggling because of their mind. But by the practice of regulated devotional service, one gains mastery over mind and senses. And then one becomes steady in hearing and chanting, absorbed in hearing and chanting. And then slowly, slowly, by just doing more and more Shravanam Kirtanam, just more and more Seva, more and more Seva. And then the taste keeps on increasing, deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper. It's not visible, it will be visible after months. Little more deepness has come. 1 year passed, some more deepness has come now. One more year passed, some more deepness has come now. So the taste becomes increasing and it becomes intense. It becomes intense. Um, and then, as devotee cultivate that taste, they develop concentrated attachment for Krishna. Till this point, the only happiness is me and mine. The only happiness is I am becoming, I love holy name. I am devotee of Nam Prabhu. Krishna is there. That's okay. By service to Krishna, I will get my juice from Nam Prabhu. Still, I am in the center. Even at the stage of Ruchi, there is I me centered. That much rooted is I me my centered. Even after mastery over mind and senses, there is a center of I me and mine. I am the center. Uh, um, in other words, I want to be happy in Krishna consciousness. That's what I mean. I is the center. There is no anarthas, but I want to relish Krishna consciousness. I want to go to the stage of bhava so that I can relish Krishna consciousness. I am in the center. I want to go to bhava so that I can serve Krishna purely is not there. I want to go to bhava so I can relish. I, I. Why are you practicing Krishna consciousness? I. Prabhu, for the pleasure of Krishna? No, I. For my pleasure, I am performing Krishna consciousness. This consciousness will continue till the stage of ruchi. But when the taste becomes very intense, then one starts making a transition, a shift from I, me, my consciousness to Krishna consciousness. Sri Prabhupada says that's where Krishna consciousness begins when we start becoming of Krishna, when we start becoming conscious of Krishna. Why are you chanting? Well, it's giving pleasure to Krishna. I am doing kirtan to give pleasure to Krishna. I am not doing kirtan so all devotees come together and I feel nourished. Now I am doing kirtan so Krishna is hearing, Radharani is hearing. It's giving pleasure to Krishna. Then everything, now why are you cleaning, why are you washing pots, why are you doing this? So that I will grow in bhakti, so that I will relish, so that my holy name will be good. That consciousness transfers from I, me, mine to Krishna, and then we are conscious of Krishna. Everything we do, we are conscious of Krishna. Then Krishna consciousness starts. Then there is a slight glimpse of man mana bhav bhakto. Now Krishna is in the center. For forever I was struggling, always I was I in the consciousness. Now for the first time, actually Krishna is in the center. Actually I am doing it to give pleasure to Krishna. That point of time, devotional service becomes very intense. At the stage of Ashakti, then you feel like, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? I want to go and I want to serve Krishna. I want to go back to Godhead. Then this feeling becomes strong and intense because now I am becoming Krishna conscious. Now Krishna is in the center for the first time ever in my life. Before that time, Krishna consciousness is artificial. Artificial means I am cooking for Krishna, but there is always a desire of mine. I am whatever I am doing, whatever we are doing in Krishna, there is I, me, mine in the center. Whatever we do, I am in the center. I am doing it for myself. So this concentrated attachment for Krishna will come after intense taste, after control over mind and senses, and intense taste in Shravanam Kirtanam, steadiness. It's no more Anishtita Bhakti. It's like goal is clear, goal is far, goal is clear, path is long, time is less. Oh no. Path is long, time is less, goal is very high. To attain that stage is very rare. Now getting serious. Now getting serious about my progress in Krishna consciousness. That attachment polishes the heart to such an extent that at times devotee thinks that Krishna has appeared there. One time I was reading a book by a spiritual master, very advanced spiritual master, and he says sometimes I go out at 1 a.m. The devotee is not able to sleep in these stages. When they sleep, they feel a separation from Krishna. I feel ashamed to speak on this topic because, the goal is very sweet. The goal is filled with nectar. Um, uh, Nectar of Devotion explains there is sadhana siddha, there is kripa siddhas. We can attain the highest stage, kripa siddha, by mercy of pure devotees, but that is extremely rare. Only when Mahaprabhu personally comes and gives us that stage is possible, but otherwise, devotees, they always tell us the process and we have to fly our own planes. Devotees will just give instructions. They will just tell. Spiritual master will just give instructions. Do this, then you will progress. Then I have my free will. And Krishna says to Arjuna, Yatha cheshi tata kuru. Krishna says, do what you like. I have told you what is right thing to do. I have told you the path. I have told you the process. I have told you what it takes. Do what you like to do. And Arjuna's surrender was Karishya Vachanam Tava. I will do as you say. So devotee at times, this is very high, so I'm not going to speak on that. Devotees start feeling separation from Krishna for the first time. And at times they feel, where is Krishna? Um, uh, हे राधे ब्रज देवी के चललिते हे नंद सुनो कुता. This is the mood of our Goswamis. Hey Radhe Braj Devi ke Chalalite. Hey Nanda Sunokuta. Hey Radha, where are you? Hey Krishna, where are you? Um, are you at Vamsivat? Are you at Govardhan? Are you at Yamuna? Hey Lalite. Hey Vishakhe. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So this mood of separation arises. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says our progress happens when we start cultivating mood of separation. Mood of separation comes after ashakti, after attachment. Because when you are attached, then you are like, what do I do? Where is हे राधे ब्रज देवी के चललिते हे नंद सुनो कुटा कहाँ हो कहाँ हो तुम लोग. So that really increases the love even more. The Vipralambha Seva, the Vipralambha Bhav, that increases the love. Krishna told gopis, I left you because they have such intense attachment to Krishna. Krishna said, I left you so that your attachment for me can grow further. Krishna does not come at Ashakti out of question because I am focused on myself. After that, also out of question for a long time because we have not developed that strong eagerness. Still, we have that strong burning fire. Take it on writing, we are not going back home back to Godhead. We are not going home back to Godhead. It's not like that हंसते खेलते थोड़ा जीवन जिएंगे और अच्छे से कर रहे हैं और yeah, now I will think of Krishna, I'll go back to Godhead. That's like putting ourselves in illusion. Putting ourselves in illusion. So we have to go through these stages. If we don't go through these stages and attain the stage of bhava and up to prema, at least thai bhava, until we get to that stage, prema is very difficult to attain in this life. It can be attained only when we participate personally with Krishna when he descends in some part in this material world. There is only a possibility of developing that thick prema, thick prema. But sthai bhava we can attain. Sthai bhava. Um, Reading this, the commentary of this Jivani of BhaktiVinodThakur gave me so much inspiration, and I was like, wow, intense. Intense is a small word. They have nothing in their life. Intense. Uh, so now the separation starts. The separation for Krishna starts. At other times, they intuitively understand the relationship with Lord through such relationship is still immature. And they understand at the stage of Ashakti also, when they have separation, they understand Krishna is far. Krishna is far. The relationship I have with Krishna is still immature. And then they get a clarity. As you advance, you get more clarity of the path of Krishna consciousness and how far is Krishna consciousness. That clarity itself comes when we develop some taste and we progress, when we have some control over mind and senses. Otherwise, mind and senses is like that's a very neophyte state. Very neophyte state. We may be sincere, but mind and senses is too much beginning. Too much beginning. Finally, the bud of mature attachment sprouts on the creeper of devotion and now further grows. Now it was still a bud attachment. Now it's begin to sprout. Now there's a flower. Now it's like attachment is growing, and devotees enjoy devotional service in bliss. Now it is thickening. This attachment to Krishna is thickening. Such mature affection quickly catches the attention of Madhusudan Krishna. And when that love thickens and thickens and thickens and thickens and thickens, then Krishna starts looking. Oh, oh, this devotee is getting there. This devotee is getting there. And then we start attracting the attention of Madhusudan. Perfection has dawned in them. They are about to perfect their lives now and illuminated their being with the rays of wonderful bliss. And they have illuminated. Perfection is dawning. Now they are having a glimpse of perfection at the stage of this ecstasy. Now the glimpse is coming. They shed tears of gratitude while remembering Krishna's words. Upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. They think how true is Krishna's words when he says upon gaining this there is no greater gain. And now they can feel, they can glimpse. Actually, it's very high when we hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His glimpse, his realizations, very high, very high. And then we feel like, oh, after you read, you feel like I'm depressed. I'm depressed about what I'm doing in my life. At the level of devotional service in practice, advancement is gradual, but devotees are still tied to the material world. Still, we have material desires, material everything, material motivations. The advancement is gradual because devotees are still tied to material world. A person trying to advance in this stage is like a man whose hands are bound with rope and who is trying to free himself. Struggling phase. Hands and legs are bound by the ropes and we want to get out of it. So this is uh, um, uh, devotion service in practice. When devotees serve with ecstatic emotion, however, they are on the spiritual platform. When that thickens, when that prema, that affection for the Lord thickens, then they are no more, they are on a spiritual platform. The same chanting and hearing is then free from material ambience and is fully potent. The chanting they do at that stage is highly potent. The hearing they do, every service they do in Krishna consciousness is fully potent. And Endeavors at this stage give rapid results, propelling devotees toward love of God because the process is so pure at that time and the push is so pure, the progress is very fast. This is the last slide we'll cover today. I don't have phone, I cannot see the time. Devotees in this stage sometimes become fully absorbed in the sound of Krishna's flute, the touch of his hand, or the scents of Vrindavan. At still other times, they feel despondent when the glimpse of Krishna's pastimes disappeared. Sometimes they get a sfurti of Krishna's pastimes. Other time, those pastimes disappear. And then other times, it's intermittent. Sometimes they again see Krishna's pastimes in their heart. They start revealing to them. Right now, it was just a holy name. Now, holy name is taking them to Vrindavan. And now, holy name is revealing to them detail in Vrindavan and then pastimes in Vrindavan. Sometimes they see, sometimes it shuts off. Then again they see, again it shuts off. Immersed in streams of ecstasy, whether awake or asleep, devotees' absorption is unwavering. One of the story of Rupa Goswami, he was in that mood and he was witnessing pastimes in Braja, in Vrindavan. And one time, one devotee was limping. We have heard that story. He was limping, and Rupa Goswami was in that spurti of witnessing Krishna's pastimes. Um, and something happened. We know the story. The pastime shuts off, and then he became very concerned. He asked Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami said, "You must have offended somebody. That's why your absorption is taken away." That was the advancement of Sanatan Goswami also. And the advancements of Raghunath Das Goswami, and the advancement of Jiva Goswami, and the advancement of Srinivas Thakur, and the advancement of Narottam Das Thakur, and the advancement of Lokanath Goswami. So this is who they are. This is who these personalities are. So Sanatan Goswami said, well, invite everyone. Somebody may have felt bad with you. Unknowingly, you have hurted somebody. Not knowingly, unknowingly. Um, and Rupa Goswami invites everyone for dinner. Everybody comes, one person doesn't come. And then Rupa Goswami understood, he begs forgiveness, and again he gets a spurti of Krishna's pastime. Similar there is in the life Jeevani of BhaktiVinodThakur also, but I will not go in detail. Maybe some other time we'll discuss about Jeevani, the life of BhaktiVinodThakur. Um, and slowly that also thickens. And the love of God, the realization of oneself and Krishna's pastimes is slowly expanding its own horizon, and then it becomes longer and longer, longer and longer. At some point of times, love of God becomes the property of her devotees, and yeah, that's a state of perfection which only very sincere devotees can appreciate. Most of the devotees cannot appreciate the goal of life. The goal of life. Sometimes when people ask Prabhuji, what happens after that? What is the goal of life? There is no answer because it takes just to get an understanding and idea of the goal of life itself requires lot of sincerity. Otherwise it will be taken cheaply. If you just say somebody goal of life is love of Godhead, they will not appreciate it. They don't know what it means to get there, what it means to be there in that consciousness, what it means to witness, what it means that the cloud uncovers and we get a spurti of the Lord in our heart. So that's all I would like to share today. Uh, uh, Mostly tattva discussion. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Okay. Okay. We'll end here. Vancha kalpatarubhesha kripa sindhube evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवेंद्र की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.